colder than anticipated. Still comfortable gloveless weather though. The way home is going to be a far better ride than this morning one is. The best part about the ride home is the lack of time frames and not having to actually be late for anything and taking much more interesting routes. That's, you know, not taking into account the whole trading your time so that you can live. There is little chutes of like single track weirdness all throughout this entire city. And I'm telling you, does it ever make for a more fun ride home? Give yourself a second to get over the lack of continuity with the beard missing. It had to go. We've got bearings to put in. On this thing, if you've never done wheel bearings in a single speed hub, get ready because it is one of the easier, complicated jobs you can do. It seems daunting at first, but I assure you, it is not. You're going to need a 15, a hammer, and some 10 mil threaded rod and some good washers. Along with replacement bearings, like I said before, I decided to ball out and go ceramic. Steel races, ceramic balls. These were like cheap ones I found online. Are they gonna be any good? Probably not. But will they be better than what's in there? Maybe even not then. I really hope none of you actually rely on any sort of tutorial I do. Forgot to mention, you're also going to need cone wrenches. If you're lucky, you'll let it go far enough that it loosened itself. Gross. And then once you have the cone nuts off, hit your axle with a hammer. That way. Try to hit the axle. There you go. One bearing out. Formula axles are stepped on the inside in an effort to reduce the amount of bearing preload that can be put on a bearing. The machining's not necessarily tight and tolerant enough to really offer the insurance that it should give. But yeah, that's how you get the bearing out. If the wheel is something you care about, spend a little bit of time with a rag, just cleaning out anything that might be in there. Putting the bearings back in, slightly more involved. You do want to be careful that they don't go in crooked. Also, if you're cheap like me and you don't buy a bearing press and you decide to use threaded rod and washers, make sure your washers are bigger than the bearing so that it presses on the outer race and not on the inner. If you're pressing on the inner race, you're creating pressure on the inside, wrecking the races, wrecking the balls. You may as well not do it at all. So, make sure it's thick, make sure it's strong, make sure it's on the outer race of the bearing. It's times like this that I realize how much smoother this goes with an actual bearing press kit. And also sometimes you end up, using a socket and a hammer to finish off that last tiny little bit of pressing it in. The best tip I can give if you get to that point, not like I just did at all, is to not tell anyone about it. Just say that you did it right. Just lie about it. Just say you did everything perfect. You used all the right tools. Oh, none of your bikes are sketchy. No sketchy bikes. And that is how you change bearings start to finish. Now, as a good while I'm here, it's time to get this old sketchy tire off. Done, ready to go. I'm not entirely sure that hand walls made this better. I think I actually like the black better. Very torn, very torn. Now, the last thing that I'm thinking I want to do, but I'm not sure yet, is put these guys on. These are the handlebars that came on the Poseidon. On a road bike with hoods, I don't like a long flat part here. I find it creates a weird spot for your hand to sit. I don't really know where to put it. I like to be on the hoods, but then there's so much bar there that I'm like, oh, God, why does this guy say bar so weird? But on the flip side of that, that's kind of what I desire when I'm riding a fixed gear like this with drops on with no hoods. Because let's be real here, there's not a lot of real estate to hold on to in the flat here. This is the flats, this little section here. I do like to ride here, but there's nothing really to hold on to. So I find myself either in the drops or riding the flats themselves. So something that gives me a more road bike-like spot to hold on to the bars would be the way to go. But mostly I don't want to do it tonight because I would miss the Belgian flag that I made on the left side of this bar with electrical tape. And I really want to just see how long this bar tape that I've been riding for the last forever will actually last. Okay, another project. Done and dusted.